Hi, I'm Angie Craft Meldal, and welcome to my channel, Life Purpose Pathfinder. And this is my very good friend, Wendy Lou Herman, and we are going to do a June reading. We're really excited. We tuned in just for a couple minutes and got a couple of messages. So enjoy, and if you're loving this, please subscribe, like, and all of the things, and leave us a comment
We love
below.
comments. 2020, baby. We're almost
Yeah.
halfway through. Can you believe that?
No, I cannot. What is
Wow.
going on? How did this happen?
Is hindsight really
Wow.
2020?
It is really
Yeah,
2020.
we
Yeah.
pulled some cards and we're going to put out some messages and then talk about how to navigate. It's all good. June is going to be juicy. Juicy
June is going to
June.
be juicy. So I just want to point out that we are in the collective Akashic Records. I do Akashic Records readings, and I teach people how to access their own Akashic Records, and for other people
She
as
taught
well.
me.
And
Super
Wendy,
fun.
why don't you talk a little bit about what you do for a second before we get going?
Sure. So I have a YouTube channel called Parenting Through Ascension, which I'll put this up on my channel as well. And then I also have an essential oil blends business called intuitiveoilblends.com. So you can find my oil blends there. And I've got lots of other, things on the fire, as they say, coming up for the future. So 2020, I know the first half's been rough, you guys. I know the first half's been rough, but we're coming into I think June's going to be a big transition month, and then the rest is going to be hopefully much better.
Yeah.
Lighter.
I hope so. Yes, we need it. We're ready.
We're
ready for that.
We've earned it, I think.
Yes.
We have worked really hard. So if do you want to share your cards first, and then we'll just go.
You go ahead, because I really like those two first cards that you pulled. I feel like that's a great place to start. And
so
I love that deck. Yeah.
I know, and I want to share that
share
because
the name of the deck.
So
yeah,
Sacred Traveler, Denise Lynn, I've not found another deck she's done, unfortunately, but the artwork really speaks to me. And so I have to say this too, because we were talking about rainbows, because there was a huge rainbow synchronicity the other day for us. And so Angie got rainbows right away when we started tuning in. And I, of course, pulled this card while we were talking about it. And I actually, now when you said rainbows, I pictured this card. I knew it was in the deck. And that's happened to me before, where I've actually called a card forward, but I definitely think there's a reason for this. But this is the second card. So I do want to talk about this one first. So this one came out first. Great adventure, take a risk, venture forward. But also look at all the colors on this. It's very rainbowy. Yeah. And the water, I want you to notice the water. It's a little choppy, but I don't want anybody to get nervous about that. It's a little choppy, but look, everybody watching. So see that really super confident man at the front? That's you. Mm-hmm. It's going to be okay. You are in charge. You are, in charge of the vector and you are the captain of the boat of your life. So it's going to be, I don't want to say it's going to, because there's no better or worse. June is going to be big changes, big transitions. And I think, well, we'll talk about how to navigate later, but I think that the key is going to be to just be open to pretty much anything, because what we have to remember is the universe always has better things in store for us than we can imagine. Whatever you can imagine for your life, if something falls away and you think, oh, I didn't deserve that, whatever, that means there's something better coming. So we just have to kind of be in that mindset. But so then this rainbow blessings, I mean, the fact that this came first, right? Waters are still a little choppy, but we're going to get through. Look at that guy. That's you. Mm-hmm. Yeah. He's like, yeah, I got this.
Forging ahead.
I got this. And look at this. Mm-hmm. This is your team. Yeah. They're always there, always backing you up, always behind. The wind is always at your back. We're always being guided forward, okay? And then this one, this is what's coming, you guys. Yeah. And I do believe that this is coming before July. Like, I feel the last week of June, we're really, blessings. The last week of June, we're really going to come out of it. And that whole, see how we've been, I love this too, this message too, because like we said, we don't like to get political or we don't like to say specific things, but how we've all been hiding out in the darkness. Guess what? We get to step out into the light very soon, into the rainbow, into the sun. And
And the
there's even water
stay-at-home
in this
orders and
one too.
everything. Yeah, coming
Right.
out.
And so that's coming to an end
The
in June. I just
blessings.
know it is. And that both of them have water. Both of them have
They
water, but
do.
this one choppy, this one's
Yeah.
super calm. Super calm.
Yeah.
And so, I feel like, well, this is what's happening globally, and you can chime in here too, because we did talk about this a little bit earlier. What's happening globally is a lot of people believe it's a cleansing going on, and it's not. Cleansing does not mean punishment from God or punishment from the universe. We're just in the midst of a very big shift for humanity. And so cleansing, really all that means is anybody who wants off the ship is being given an opportunity to get off the ship if they don't want to, take that shift. And so we have seen a lot of loss, and we have experienced a lot of people leaving, and even animals leaving, right? So many people on social media talking about their pets passing. And it's so very sad, but there's a
Yes.
reason. Like they don't want to, they wouldn't be able to exist in this new energy coming. And I know I always feel like that's harsh when I say that, but that's what I truly believe. So if that resonates with you. But what's happening is, if you think about the Great Flood, the fact that water came up here both times. First of all, water also represents emotion, deep, deep emotions flowing. We're processing a lot of emotions. But the flood, the biblical flood, there is evidence that it was a real thing. And that was also considered a cleansing. And so every, 10 to 15, around 15,000 years, we do experience kind of a big shift. And cleansing, maybe not is quite the right word. It feels like, scrubbing. I don't know. It feels kind of low vibe to me, but that's what's happening right now is we're going through this huge shift, and it's all for our highest good. We have to truly believe that. And the whole fact that we're seeing more darkness being dredged up from the bottom of the ocean, right? Metaphorically, is a good thing. It's a good thing. It's shedding light on this darkness so that we can transmute it.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
what, I don't know if you have any other insights
Yeah.
in these beautiful.
You hit on it. I was thinking, to me, the water in that first picture represented the sorrow, the emotion, the loss, the
Ooh, I just
grief
got
of
chills.
just all the people that have made their transition, and just allowing ourselves to, because it's just such an immense amount of loss, really allowing ourselves to just be with that. And some days are really, really tough, and that's okay, and just let those emotions come through. I'm feeling choked up because we lost two pets, as you know, to
Very
back
short time
within
frame,
a very
right?
short time, but they both got sick of different natural causes within a week of each other. So I do believe that there are certain pets and things making the choice to exit right
I know, and
now.
I'm looking at we've got four. We've got two dogs and two cats, and I keep looking at them every day and going, you're staying.
Yeah.
Please don't go. So they're all
Right. And it's
healthy.
like
They're
we
all
don't have
strong and
control
healthy
over
right
their
now.
little journey.
We
So it's
don't,
just kind of
yeah,
like letting go. And
they
so we
know.
went through a lot of grief and loss with that. And then we did lose a loved one in another state, not
So
due
did I,
to
yeah.
the pandemic, but she made her transition. And, there are times on our planet where that happens, where there's a big amount of loss. If you think about 9/11 or different, World
True.
War II, just different times on the planet. And like you were saying, when the Great Flood came. And so there's a lot of collective sorrow, I feel, that comes up, and we have our own particular flavor of the journey with, whoever we've lost within the journey. But then we have the collective sorrow that comes up where it's like, wow, these are my fellow humans that have left the planet. And it is important for us to go there and recognize that. Interestingly, when we first sat down, I kind of set it aside, but I did draw the compassion card again like last month. So I feel like
Mm-hmm.
it's so important for us to set our differences aside right now, where there's so many people that are like, oh, I'm upset that someone's not wearing a mask. I'm upset that people are wearing masks. I'm upset. And it's like, you can go around and around all day about this stuff, but at the end of the day, that does not solve the problem here on the planet. What we need is more
Right.
love and more compassion. And that means trying to see things through the eyes of someone that you wouldn't normally try to see their perspective, and really appreciate that everyone has a different perspective right now.
Right.
Everyone has a different level or set of circumstances that they're dealing with in their own history and in their own life. And maybe some people's greatest fear is their personal well-being and physical health. And so they're going to present as someone that is fearful of the pandemic, right? And that's completely understandable. And so it's just important for us to step into the idea that
to have
everyone's
compassion.
to compassion. Everyone's having a different experience of what's going on right now and of this loss, right? And then the underlying sorrow being a huge piece of why people are acting the way they are, why they have certain reactions. You know, sometimes sorrow can show up as anger, right? Or rage.
Absolutely.
It can all be tied into a big ball, right? And so sometimes people don't always express sorrow in a way that we would say, oh, that's appropriately expressing sorrow. Sometimes they just
according to your beliefs
or whatever. And so it's important for the people, for those of us that are able to step back and take that shift in perspective and say, yes, I don't totally resonate with what that person's doing, but I'm going to hold them in a space of love and compassion because they're obviously just reacting to the circumstances that we're all dealing with right now. And so I think
through their own lens, you know,
exactly,
we all have our own lens.
Through their own pain, right? Like all of us, you know, different parts of our pain gets triggered. Some people get really, really worried about the economy, or, you know, some people have poured their heart and soul into their restaurant or their business or whatever, and they don't know if they're going to be able to reopen or to keep that going. And that's a huge piece of sorrow. Even if, like you said, the rainbow on the other side is something beautiful and new is going to come into their life, there's still that point of surrendering of the old dream that can be really painful. Like so many of us have had the old dream maybe that we held on to, and it might even be things like the American dream, right? Like, and then you kind of realize, like, wait, who made up the American dream, and why did I decide that was my dream? I don't know that that's actually my
why did
dream.
I limit myself to that?
And so many people are going through that too, like just even an old dream that's falling away, and then, you know, a whole
that you thought was the be all end all. You thought that was it.
The rainbow is like the universe,
the universe is going to show you things.
And so we're having this whole sorrow around what's going on. Yes, sorrow around the big picture, and then sorrow around the little things in our lives that are falling away that will never, ever be the same. But we're experiencing that huge law of sacrifice moment where it's like we're having to sacrifice that lesser. And sometimes we were forced to, right? Like some people really lost what they had worked for, and that was a true sacrifice, but they're sacrificing the lesser for the greater, which is what is coming in the new world that we're going to participate in building, because so many of these things were broken. And so it's like a forced sacrifice, you know, like this is, and a lot of times we do it, we choose to sacrifice the lesser for the greater. Like we make the choice. But in this situation, I feel like I'm just going off of your two cards. It's like the forced sacrifice is like the flood, right? Like you cannot stop nature. Like if nature is coming in and your house is going to blow down, that is just what's going to happen. And then from that place, right? If the forest is burning down, whatever's happening, from that place, true transformation begins. And then
you can't have creation without destruction first. That's just the plain,
it's a cycle.
Simple truth. But I do believe we're coming into this is such a big message for me, because I do believe that we're coming into a world that is going to work for everyone. Not just the people in power, not just the people who control everything, because that is shifting too. That shift is monumental right now, unprecedented. Like people don't even know what's going on. Every day something is shifting in that world. And so it's all for our highest good.
Yes.
It really is. And we can't too, I want to make sure we touch on too, and you were there, you were getting there, don't try to avoid the sorrow. Don't try to avoid feeling the grief, you know, even knowing that, okay, I don't think it's mine, I think it's the collective. You know, we still have to recognize it. We still have to acknowledge it before you can let it go out of your field, you know, before you can say, okay, I see what you are. Thank you. You know, I'm grateful to you for showing me, you know, what's going on, and you can leave now. But sometimes we have to process it. And if you know some of it's yours, you have to go into it. You just have to. I love the simplest phrase that really has always hit me is you have to see the dirt to clean it. You can't just
Yes.
blindly clean and assume you got everything. You have to be able to see it. So,
Yeah.
and that doesn't mean that you have to relive trauma, or, you can, there are ways to, this is what Angie and I do, seek someone out who helps people through these things. There are ways to acknowledge and see it, and not have to go into some deep trauma and relive it to release it.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. It's just so important. And really being able to allow yourself to feel that just brings you more
Right.
compassion and more love for other people, because then you have more understanding of what people are going through when they're in a place of sorrow, when they are in that position that where they did lose a loved one or a pet or
Right.
whatever, because there's just been so much loss, so, or a business, no matter, and it can affect someone just in the same way. It's like, well, you didn't lose a loved one, you lost your business. Well, that could be just as
That's
devastating for that
huge.
person. When you
Right.
have a dream and you hold it dearly in your heart and it falls away, that can be just as painful as a death. So I feel like the most important message here is for us to stay out of judgment to how people are reacting to the circumstances on the planet right now, because it
Compassion.
doesn't help anything for us to be throwing
Absolutely.
judgments around.
And there are, the darkness, whatever name you want to give it, the darkness loves it when we're divided and fighting and arguing and judging each other. We need to shine the light on that. We need to bring compassion into that, and transmute that, because it's keeping that vibration low. And honestly, like you said, this is a forced cleansing. This is happening. We can make it super duper painful by holding on to this reality of judgment and duality and competition, or we can just love everybody and have compassion for everybody and where they're at in their journey, and we can let go of it all. And that's when this is going to start showing up,
Mm-hmm.
the rainbow.
Yeah.
It's coming. There's nothing we can do to stop this transition. There's also nothing we can do to stop the fact that we're coming into a better world. But how you get there is up to you. You can either go kicking and screaming, or you can just let go and ride the waves, all the way there. I mean, we have so much help. There's really well, this is me getting harsh, kind of tough love. There is no excuse. There's no excuse for not, believing that we are supported and loved, because we have so much help in the physical and the non-physical. And so
Absolutely.
it's okay to lean on them, lean on them, lean on people in your life, lean on each other right now, and just stop with the judgment, and just know that everybody is in a different place than you. You don't know anybody else's heart but your own. So, and if you can have compassion, then that affects everybody around you. So
Yeah, because if you reach out with the hand of compassion, then someone might turn around and do that for someone else.
yeah, the whole pay it forward. People
Right.
get that vibe. It's
Right.
much easier. We want that
Yeah,
kind of contagion, right? Let's
we
make
do.
that contagious.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
then the second card I pulled was vigilance, so stone people. So I just got a really ancient feeling from this card. Like there's just there's just so much energy coming from our ancestors in what we're going through, and just so much support, like you were saying. Like I feel like the ancestors are a huge piece of that support system right now, of our guidance, and we can just we're assisting them so much already just by being here right now in the physical. But at the
Right.
same
They're
time,
very grateful.
they're
Yeah.
very grateful, and we can turn around and they can assist us to have that vigilance, right? To see this through, to know that we can help each other, we can lean on each other. That's what happened. I mean, if you look at the history of during war times and during times of crisis, it brings out the most a lot of times, and not in every moment, but it can bring out the most beautiful side of humanity, where you see
The
people reaching
unity.
out saying, how can I help, where can I donate, where can I drop off food, where can I and telling your neighbors. And I try to text a different person in my phone at least every day or every other day and say, is there anything you guys need, is there anything I can do, especially
Right.
when things were really hard to get. I was doing it a lot, like when people couldn't get
Yeah.
toilet paper,
Me too.
paper
Yeah.
towels. So I just would tell people, if I have something, ask, just tell me if you need something,
Right.
because if I have it and I can share it with you, I will. So that's the kind of one thing about crisis that can happen is it can really bring people together. And it's like, hey, at the end of the day, we're all human. Like we're all
all on this journey.
viruses. We have human, physical, finite bodies, right? Like our soul is infinite, but we have these bodies that we can see that in each other. Like how can we help each other through difficult times? Whenever there's been a big tragedy on the planet, that there was always a higher purpose, and that it always brought
Always.
out love within people's hearts like never before. Like it's interesting that the cards kind of intertwine, you know, the rainbow being more like that compassion and that hope and that.
Absolutely. And
then
the love. Yeah.
As you were talking about the guidance that we have available, that's how I think about the stone people is.
And you know, it correlates to the stone people. Like, look at that guy, all confident. He is very solid in his foundation. He knows where he's going, and he knows he's going to get there safe and sound. And that's that stone people too. It speaks of, you know, we have such a deep rooted foundation in each other, in this unity consciousness, not in this division and competition and judgment, and because that person's wearing it, like you said, that person's wearing a mask, and I cannot have judgment about it. I don't know if they're, you know, if they're already at risk, if their health is at risk, or if they're just in fear. And so we have to have compassion for each other. But that whole stone, it's almost like just the knowing that we really do have this solid foundation is very important. And it's when you go down deep enough, it's us as one. It's the oneness of humanity. And so fighting each other is just futile at this point. We're going to get there, and the more you fight, the more it's going to hurt. So
right.
A little tough love from Mama Wendy. Stop fighting. So we're here to spread love. We're here to, you know, we each choose a unique way to express the love we came to share, whatever it is, through art, through music, through YouTube videos, however we do it. But ultimately, at the end of the day, it's all about the adventure. Yeah. You know, and as souls, we saw this life as quite the adventure. So with all the, you know, with all the stuff happening in this, you know, just in my lifetime, holy cow. Yeah, like all the stuff that's happening, it's just been incredible. And it really is exciting. If we can try to shift that, you know, the fear, and the fear is lifting, I promise. If you're deep in fear right now, it's lifting. Like I said, try to ride the waves, seek out help. You know, seek out, everybody knows somebody now who does what Angie and I do. And it doesn't matter what you call it, we're all just helping people through this transition period. You know, I do Reiki. I also am starting to do Akashic records, thanks to Angie. And so it doesn't matter what modality it is, call somebody that you know to help you through it. Yeah. Because we're just waiting. That's what we're here for.
We're here for you. Absolutely. And I just wanted to point out too that I have a free class next Wednesday, the 3rd at 3 p.m. Mountain Time.
I just got chills when you said it.
It's an Akashic Records into the Akashic Library class, where we're going to go into the library and just really enjoy being in that space and ask some really powerful questions of the guides that are there. And
that's going to be so great.
I'm excited.
You guys, the Akashic Library is a magic, however it comes to you, it is a magical place that you're going to want to revisit over and over again. I don't want to leave sometimes. I'm always like, no, I don't want to go.
I know. I love it so much too. The energy, and we're in the energy of it right now, and it's just beautiful.
Yeah. Just, guys, hang in there a little longer. You know, go into the emotion. Let the emotions flow. Water. So much water. Emotions are coming. You cannot avoid them. Right. You know, you can't. We call it spiritual bypassing in the biz, and you don't want to do that.
They interviewed this beautiful older woman, and they said, "How did you live to be 105 or whatever?" And she said, "You know, I just whatever I was feeling in the moment, I just allowed myself to feel it in that moment. I felt all the joy, I felt all the laughter, I felt all the tears, and I was just like, oh my goodness, of course that would be the secret to living to be 105."
Right? Notice
she was super authentic. She just was who she was. She wasn't covering it up. It was such a beautiful story.
I love that. And notice she didn't say she ate a certain way, or she exercised every day. And that stuff is important for whatever that means for you, but it's all about the inner work and we're energy, you guys. We're all energy. Right. Tap into that reality. We are we are energy bodies having a human experience. So this human body, when we can tap into that, this human body is so easy to heal. So freaking easy to heal. And we are on that path to vibrant health. I didn't swear, right? I said frickin'.
I love that you said that, because yesterday I was in a journey. I was taking another class, and I was really focused on vibrant health, and I pulled out this giant weed and I planted this beautiful seed of vibrant health. It was like this crystal blue. And then I marked it like you mark a flower with like what it is. And I marked it vibrant health. And I said that vibrant health is what grows here. And it was in my heart. Such a beautiful journey. I just want to share that because you said that.
Oh my gosh. So, we should do that with everybody.
Beautiful.
Everybody do that. Everybody do that right now.
Everybody do that. Okay, well, we will leave it there for now. So if you're needing support, or if you feel like reaching out to either of us, yes. And I also have that free class and the 8-week training.
Please sign up for the free class. I'm telling you, if you've never heard of the Akashic record, or it's just a huge, I really feel like it's going to be a huge modality going forward, because it's everything. The library holds everything that we are and that we've done and that we will do. Everything we need is in there. And of course it's all in here, right? But yeah, I'm just trying to think, is there anything we can wrap up? I think we covered it all.
With the compassion, and I think we
compassion, I think, is the key right now. I think
is the key.
If you can have compassion for others, that also makes it easier for you to, you know, and you may be the person too that someone seeks out for help. So just be open to that, and just be ready to be, you know, loving and focus on living from your heart, because that's what we're working on right now. That's where it's at right now.
Absolutely.
And I promise June is gonna lighten up, and
the rainbow's
July,
coming.
I think, is going to be, July is going to be beautiful. I mean, everything's beautiful and perfect. We're working through stuff. We're doing it together.
We are. Okay, well, I think that's a beautiful wrap up. So everyone have a good June, and hopefully we will hear from you in some comments. And remember to share with your friends and subscribe. Please.
Thank you.
I'll put the link to the free Zoom in the comments.
Yes.
Bye.